Rodney Reed is scheduled to be executed by the state of Texas next Wednesday, but a growing chorus of people across the ideological and cultural spectrum are calling on Governor Greg Abbott to step in and save the life of a man who many believe may be innocent. Celebrities like Oprah, Rihanna, and Beyonce are all calling for a halt to Reed's execution. A group of Texas law enforcement officers filed a brief asking the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene. State lawmakers in a very polarized state of Texas, both Democrat and Republican, have written to the governor about the case. Even Republican Senator Ted Cruz is calling for the state to stop and take a harder look at the evidence. We've been covering the Rodney Reed case for years, ever since his last scheduled execution back in early 2015. Even back then, there were serious issues surrounding his conviction.
In 1998, Rodney Reed was convicted of the murder and rape of 19-year-old Stacey Stites, a crime he says he did not commit. I traveled to the prison in Livingston, Texas, where Reed was being held weeks before his scheduled execution in 2015. By then, he had spent nearly half his life behind bars.
I had nothing to do with this case.
You did not kill Stacey Stites?
I had nothing to do with this case, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all.
Stacey Stites was found dead on the side of a country road in the small town of Bastrop, Texas, in April 1996. A medical examiner ruled she died as a result of asphyxia due to ligature strangulation associated with sexual assault. And a DNA sample was obtained from semen found inside the body. Investigators initially suspected Stites' fiancé, Jimmy Finnell, a police officer in a neighboring town. Finnell was the last person to see Stites alive at home in their apartment the night of her death, and his truck was found down the road from Stites' body. Finnell said Stites was driving it to work at a supermarket in the early morning hours, as she normally did. Finnell was eventually cleared when the DNA was not a match, and investigators concluded he couldn't have killed Stites based on the timeline he provided. A year later, investigators looked into a man with multiple accusations of sexual assault, Rodney Reed. The DNA was a match. They brought him in for questioning.
This girl is Stacey Stites.
Okay.
Have you ever seen her before?
No, I haven't.
Never dated her?
No, I haven't. I don't know this person is.
After first denying knowing the victim, Reed later said he and Stites were engaged in a secret sexual relationship, which would explain the presence of his DNA. His lawyers said they found witnesses who knew about his relationship with Stacey Stites, but could not bring anyone forward in trial. I asked Reed why he initially told investigators he didn't know Stites.
I didn't want to try to incriminate myself to, I don't even want to be questioned about it. You know what I'm saying? I had absolutely nothing to do. I'm a black man in a small town, and it's not about me pulling the race card or anything like that. It's not nothing about that, but the nature of this little small city that I lived in, you know what I'm saying?
It took just hours for an all-white jury to convict Rodney Reed and then sentence him to death.
When you found out that you were getting the death penalty, did it feel real to you? Did it feel distant?
It was the numb feeling. It was the numb feeling. It's like, really, it was unbelievable. It felt like I was in a dream. It felt like it wasn't real. It wasn't real. It was a numb feeling. This can't be happening.
10 years after Reed was convicted, another trial brought his case back into the headlines. Jimmy Finnell, Stacey Stites' fiancé when she died, pled guilty to kidnapping and improper sexual activity with a woman in his custody while he was on duty as a police officer. Reporter Dave Harmon covered Reed's trial.
You hear about Jimmy Finnell's plea years later.
Yes.
What went through your mind then?
We had no idea what Jimmy Finnell was capable of back in '98. And I wonder what a jury would have done if they had known about that at the time. It makes you think a lot harder about whether Jimmy Finnell could have done it.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.